Yes, hello, welcome back to the channel. Please subscribe to my Angel Fazil and please like the video, share and inform your friends. Now, the issue of spying has really gotten out of control right now as we speak. And all governments around the world, as well as dictators, are using every tool that is available in order to spy on each other, in order to spy on political opponents, to spy on journalists and people who would bring some sort of trouble to their regime or grip on power. Now, according to the OCCRP, that is Organized Crime and the organization is called Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project. It released a report showing that Rwanda had tapped phones of top officials in Uganda, and some of the top officials include David Muhoozi, Sam Kutesa, Ruhakana Rugunda, as well as Chairman Nyanzi. Now, Chairman Nyanzi is the odd man out on the entire list because he is a brother to His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Now, I did an episode way back about the issue of spying. Now, if Rwanda uses this spyware to spy on Museveni's officials, that is not news. It has been there. Because we also know that Museveni also has spies in Rwanda, as well as Kagame having spies in Uganda. I don't know why these two are actually falling out, but we all know why things are the way they are. But what is interesting is to see Chairman Nyanzi into the fray. Now, they deployed one of the most sophisticated and the most effective spyware in the world. It's called Pegasus. Now, Pegasus, it is able to crack into any phone, even if it has any password, able to crack into any laptop, computer, and anything of that sort. To the extent that even if your phone is switched off, it can still listen in. That's how powerful Pegasus is. It can still listen, like the mouthpiece of your phone still acts as a spy device, whereby the person who has deployed that spyware onto your phone can still listen in even if the battery is out. The only safest phones to use if you want to avoid Pegasus is those phones that have their batteries out. Now, that's according to Edward Snowden. He's the one who revealed this spyware. There's an episode on YouTube that I watched where Edward Snowden was trying to explain how Pegasus works and things of that sort, and precautions that people should take. Now, I did an episode last year about Museveni's spying techniques, how they employed Operation. You should go and look online or around somewhere on my YouTube videos. I did an episode where I spoke about Operation Fungua Macho. Operation Fungua Macho involved people like that Dr. King Kalisa. They involved different players in Ministry of Internal Affairs, ESO, whereby they bought this spyware from a certain British firm, and then they deployed it in hotels around Kampala. They deployed it in they deployed it in hotels. They started spying on journalists. They started spying on the then opposition figures and people like the current lead of opposition, and so on and so forth. So you can go and look for Operation Fungua Macho, that operation that Museveni unleashed, and they bought a very expensive spyware in order to spy on the opposition. Now, as we know that there is frosty relations between Museveni and Kagame as we speak today, we see that Kagame was spying on these particular individuals, which is not big news. But what is interesting is, why would he spy on Chairman Nyanzi's phone? Now, for me, I have 2 or 3 reasons as to why they would do that. Now, you should understand that Museveni has spies in Rwanda, same as Kagame having spies in Uganda. So whoever was handling this Pegasus, because Pegasus has the capacity to spy on 10 phones at once, and it also has the capacity to spy on more than 15 phones at once. We shall get into Pegasus a wee bit later. But first, Chairman Nyanzi, we know Museveni has spies in Rwanda. So Museveni could not afford the software maybe at that particular time, or because the OCCRP report would have showed that Museveni purchased the software as well, sorry, the spyware as well. And maybe he managed to slip under the blanket and maybe he was not flagged. But I do believe that Museveni also has Pegasus. You should go and look at Bobi Wine's article, documentary that he did about how Museveni was using the Chinese firm Huawei. I've covered all these topics. How he was using Huawei to spy on His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Now, we understand if Museveni did not have Pegasus, what is likely happening in Rwanda is that there is someone in Rwanda that is working for Museveni that tapped Chairman Nyanzi's phone, and then he was giving that information to Museveni in order to give him a heads up. Whereas he was also tapping Muhoozi, David Muhoozi, Sam Kutesa, as well as Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda's phones in one way or the other. Now let us dig deep into this issue and see. So Rwanda, according to the Daily Monitor, reportedly wiretapped conversations of top Ugandan officials according to revelations in the Global Reporting Investigations, the Pegasus Project, published by the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, OCCRP. OCCRP, a global investigations non-profit organization, reported on Monday that Rwanda targeted Ugandan ex-Prime Minister Rugunda and Foreign Affairs Minister Kutesa, both dropped last month, and Director of External Security Organization Joseph Ochwet. The list of the selected numbers also shows that Kagame government may have used the Pegasus to target high-ranking political and military figures in neighboring countries. OCCRP reported citing Rugunda and Burundian Prime Minister Alain Guillaume Bunyoni. Rwanda has frosty relations with both countries, with Uganda diplomatic fallout culminating in the 2019 closure of the busiest Gatuna border point to date. Among the Ugandans on the wiretapping list, OCCRP has identified numbers belonging to long-time senior cabinet member Kutesa, former Chief of Defense Forces David Muhoozi, Senior Intelligence Officer Joseph Ochwet, and leading opposition figure Fred Ssentamu Nyanzi. The selection of the telephone numbers for tapping coincided with a visit by Kagame to Uganda. The investigative organization wrote, "For publicly unstated reasons, President Museveni last year tapped Adonia Ayebare, who served as Uganda's ambassador to Rwanda, before taking over the post of Uganda's permanent secretary to United Nations in New York, to lead the shuttle diplomacy to thaw the icy Kampala-Kigali diplomatic relations." Now, the president, who is also the commander-in-chief, dropped Museveni, dropped Muhoozi and instead assigned him as state minister for internal affairs, while both Rugunda and Kutesa were fired. Ssentamu, on the other hand, is a brother of the former presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, also known as Bobi Wine, who the Ugandan government alleged was being bankrolled by unnamed neighboring country. So are you guys trying to connect? I don't know what the author of this article was trying to connect, but he says that Ssentamu, Mr. Nyanzi, because you remember the narrative that these people were saying, that Bobi Wine was being supported by unnamed neighboring country, because I remember that very well. Even this gentleman known as Tumine was also perpetrating those lies. Now, if they are saying that he was being bankrolled by unnamed neighboring country, that is quite interesting, because that information must have come from Rwanda. And what that means is that these people from Rwanda must have tapped Chairman Nyanzi's phone in one way or the other. Right? So the person who tapped Nyanzi's phone was working for Museveni in Kagame's government. I mean, also targeted for hacking by Rwanda, according to the report, is the Ugandan journalist Andrew Mwenda. Wastage of time. Hacking, according to OCCRP, coincided with Rwanda's presidential Kagame's visit on the 21st of February 2020 for the fourth quadripartite heads of state summit at Gatuna border for the normalization of relations between Uganda and Rwanda. The meeting was also attended by Angola's João Lourenço as the mediator and Congo's Felix Tshisekedi. President Kagame's last visit, which happened more than a year after Rwanda closed its busiest border with Uganda, initially over construction upgrade, before Kigali cited arrest and torture of Rwandan citizens by Uganda's security and spy agencies. Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Vincent Biruta, did not answer our repeated phone calls, seeking his government's response to the revelations. However, he told the OCCRP that the assertions of potential targeting of activists, politicians, lawyers, and others are false accusations. When Pegasus is implanted on a device, it effectively gives attacker complete access to the target's phone. It can read messages, passwords, access social media, use GPS to locate the target, listen to the target's conversation, and even record them. End-to-end encryption available through popular apps like Signal does not protect against Pegasus. Once the phone is compromised, OCCRP reported. All of this can happen without a user even ever touching the mobile handset and knowing that they have received a mysterious message from an unfamiliar person. OCCRP further reported that the targeting of senior Ugandan government mobile phones was part of Kigali's wider hacking of high-ranking government and intelligence officials in Burundi as well as the DRC. Mr. Nyanzi wondered why he would be of interest to intelligence services of a neighboring country. Maybe they were trying to find out what I talk with Mr. Kyagulanyi. But I am not bothered because these are things we say on phone, are the same things we speak at rallies, and when I'm hosted on political talk shows, our message is similar. Political change. Now, Pegasus. It is really funny now that things have just gotten complicated, especially if you understand the Great Lakes region politics in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and all this kind of stuff. What is really happening? And to give you just a hint about Pegasus and the price, according to this is called the Economic Times Tech. Pegasus, Israel company markets it as a tool to track criminals and terrorists for targeted spying and not massive surveillance. NSO Group sells the software to governments only. A single license which can be used to infect several smartphones can cost up to Rs 70 lakh. I don't know. That is in Indian money. According to 2016 price list, NSO Group charged its customers $650,000 to infiltrate just 10 devices, plus a planned installation fee of $500,000 US dollars. So this is what developing countries or whatever, third world countries or African countries are spending their money on. Buying spyware. Museveni also buys spyware, we know that. But Pegasus is it's the most expensive, and it's the creme de la creme out there. Like, if you have Pegasus, you can get into anyone's phone and anyone's computer. Now, the way it is deployed, they usually send links, they send videos, they send the music files and all that kind of stuff. The moment you tap on the file, they are already in. The best thing to do, throw the phone away. Change your passwords. That's it. Because if your phone is infected with Pegasus, you're done. Every communication you make, everything you say, they are listening. Now, if Kagame is opening a war on people power in Uganda, I don't know why he was spying on Dr. Chairman Nyanzi, but what I believe is that what is happening is that the Museveni's spies in Rwanda have access to these Pegasus. And because Bobi Wine was aware that he was being spied on, that's why he had like 7 phones. And for those of you who have spoken to Bobi Wine on phone, you know very well he doesn't really speak anything on the phone. Even if you text, he doesn't even reply. That's why you see some people get frustrated whenever they say that, oh, I was trying to speak to Bobi Wine, but I could not reach him. Like, he can never speak. And the problem with these softwares with this spyware, is that they can even activate the camera while your phone is seated there. It can even activate your microphone for someone to listen in while your phone is seated there. So what does this mean? Well, if Museveni is being spied on, of course that shows that Museveni has, number one, they are going to start saying, okay, now we also need to fight back because Rwanda spied on us. And they are going to use this as an excuse to buy more arms, more stuff, and all this kind of stuff. You wait. They are going to start saying, oh, Uganda is under attack because Rwanda spied on us, so we have to do something. And they are going to divert all the COVID money to add it on the defense ministry. Interesting. And now, what Museveni wants to do is, he wants to rally the entire Ugandans against the Rwanda for spying on us. Now, I personally would say that no Ugandan is going to stand behind Museveni. No Ugandan is going to stand behind Museveni. Actually, Ugandans are even very happy that Museveni was being hacked. But if you start hacking Nyazi's phone, that must have been thrown in there somewhat, and I don't know why, but that's really interesting to me. And trust me, that is not something that Ugandans are going to take lightly, especially if you're targeting the opposition, if you're targeting Chairman Nyazi, if you're targeting people power, if you're targeting His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. This is the battle that Bobi Wine is fighting. He's fighting Museveni, but he's also fighting people in the region. People like Kagame are also hacking into his, like according to this OCCR report, governments in East Africa are also tapping into his phones. Really? Let me tell you guys, all of a sudden these two leaders will go, and the mess the entire region is in, we shall come out. Things like these are the things that actually chase away investors. There is no investor in Uganda or Africa would like to see such kind of things. You see, one thing happened recently. You know this Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, I think. He tried to hack into Jeff Bezos' phone. Now, there's one thing about hacking into Lugunda's phone or David Muhoozi's phone. These nobodies, no one knows them past Kampala. But then there's hacking into Jeff Bezos' phone. And the person who deployed the spyware was the king himself, Salman, Crown Prince. That, you guys remember, if you have been following American politics, that scuffle that was there, Jeff Bezos literally was hacked. And they were listening in. I think they even used this Pegasus. Right? And what happened? Because King Salman, Prince Salman was looking to attract investment into Saudi Arabia, Amazon, and all this kind of stuff, and do business summits. Bezos said, "You guy, you are the worst. Cannot deal with you." And all of a sudden, what happened was Jamal Khashoggi and all that kind of stuff. Khashoggi was working for the Washington Post, I think. Yeah. And then Washington Post was owned by Jeff Bezos. And then Jeff Bezos, one of his journalists, Jamal Khashoggi, was murdered. If you go and look at activists in Saudi Arabia, most of them, there is a documentary, I think it's on Netflix, where these guys talk about how these guys were hacking into their phones. It's really very interesting. Now, this is what I want to tell Ugandans and everyone watching me. Everyone can be hacked. No one should lie to you that you cannot be hacked. If anyone comes out and says that, look, I can't be hacked, that's not true. It's just because these people do not know the spyware that is existing out there. You go and read about a story about how the US infiltrated the nuclear power stations in Iran and messed up the centrifuges, whatever. So if these people can hack into these nuclear power stations, so what about Emir Kutesa? Now, you should also understand that Museveni has his own spyware, but it's not at the level of Pegasus. You should go and read that report on Operation Fungua Macho that Museveni, the spyware he used to purchase, he purchased from a British firm to spy on Ugandans. It will give you an insight on how this thing is unfolding. So we are still following the story to see what comes out of it, but it is really interesting. Chairman Nyazi, the phone you have, throw it away. Change all your passwords and everything else. That software was deployed on your phone by either someone close to you or through a link. Because there is two ways they can, because this software has to get onto a phone. It's not just a matter of just saying that, okay, now I want to hack into my Anja's phone. It has to be deployed. It can be deployed physically, or it can be deployed electronically or wirelessly. Now, these issues of you people going out, because what in Operation Fungua Macho, what these people used to do was they would go somewhere, for example, around Kamocha, and set up a fake Wi-Fi network. Now, when you go in a place and you just want to access any Wi-Fi point that you find, and you say, "Oh, this is Wi-Fi is open. Let me access this Wi-Fi." Bang! When you click on that Wi-Fi, Pegasus is locked onto your phone. So it means that what we can do is, number one, we can only try to play these people, right? So do not put all your sensitive communication on phones. Don't communicate all sensitive communication on phones. If you think that your phone is compromised, sell it off, get a new one, change your passwords regularly, things like that. They can really help. So guys, that is really sad, but we are keeping an eye on this story, and it's really, really a big one. For Museveni and your counterparts, if you are not here and you are already gone, no one would even care. Okay, you hack Kutesa's phone, you can hack, because Kutesa is one person in Africa who doesn't know that corruption is a crime and taking bribes is a crime. Literally, that's who he is. And nepotism is a crime. Before he left, he had to appoint 2 of his kids into being ambassadors for different countries to Uganda. Those are the people. You hack Lugunda, David Mo. I just really don't even care about those people, whether they hack them or not. Uganda is not under attack, and people should not think that the government Museveni should not think that he's now going to use this as a pretext to fight his personal wars, as a pretext to increase his budget. How can you? Because I know he's going now to start looking for spyware as well. $500,000 to also buy Pegasus and keep up with the Jones. Well, we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen. We're still following the story, and we shall keep you updated. Have a blessed one. Bye-bye.